Dear one and one, sorry I can't come for lesson today, but the spirit of Miss Liao's hammer shall be with you. Okay, so just treat it as I'm with you as you complete the lesson today, okay? Okay, so for today's lesson, you will probably need your worksheet, which I believe your teacher will have given out to you. And of course, you will need this beautiful history textbook, which I assume all of you have brought. If you didn't bring a history textbook, can you please share with the person next to you? Now please bring it every lesson, okay? Yes, I see you. You are not bringing. You also. You another one. Please make sure you bring your history textbook, okay? Okay. Now, so today, before we start on today's lesson, I need you to let's recap. Let's recap on what we have learned so far. Okay, so what is a historical inquiry? Okay, talk to the person next to you before you try to answer. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Okay, historical inquiry. What does it mean? Yes, you? Yep. Yep, correct. Historical means something about the past. Excellent. How about inquiry? Inquiry means when you are asking questions about the past, you are actually in there. Yes, very good. Investigating about the past. Okay, so historical inquiry is investigating about the past. Now, how about the word source? What does it mean? Okay, very good. Source means that it is something that provides you with information about the past. Okay, so for example, if you want to know more about the history of Singapore, you go to the museum or you go to the library to look for sources to help you to know more about Singapore. Okay, so source is something that provides information about the past. How about evidence? You need evidence to proof. Okay, evidence is proof to support your inference. Okay, now inference is the harder one. Anyone remembers what's the meaning of inference? Inference means you make a guess or a conclusion. Very good. A guess or a conclusion about the past. Okay, so based on all your sleepy faces, for example, evidence of your sleepy faces looking at me right now, I know that you are tired. So my conclusion is you are tired. And my conclusion is also that probably that you did not sleep well last night. Okay, so from your sleepy faces, I know that you didn't sleep well last night. Okay, so inference is a guess based on evidence that you see. Okay, let's get back. Okay, so for today, what are we going to do? Okay, we are going to study what can historical evidence tell us about Singapore's connections, okay, pardon my ugly handwriting, with the world up to 19th century. Okay, but for today, we are just going to focus on 14th century. Okay, so the rest I'll do with you when I come back. Okay, so when we look at this question, we must first analyze, right? Because we ask ourselves a question, but we must analyze. Now, historical means what? Historical means things from the past. Okay, evidence, proof, right? So what can some proof, pieces of proof that we get from the past? Okay, it could be like, when we dig, we find something, so historical evidence tell us about Singapore's connections with the world. Okay, now connections means what? When you say, what are the connections, what do you think it means? Connections means like, for example, I say, what's the connection between you and this person? Okay, I mean the relationship. Okay, the relationship or the interaction. Okay, so what we are going to study some things that can tell us about Singapore's relationship with the world Okay, the whole world, China lah, India lah, etc. Up to the 14th century. Okay, so uh we are going to study that. So like 14th century will be about 1300s. Okay, like 1300s. Okay, the year very very long ago. Okay, so now you're in 2014. 1300s is like maybe uh 700 years ago. As you can see, this guy is a history teacher, not a maths teacher, cannot count. Okay, about 700 years ago. Okay. Okay, so for today's lesson, we're just going to focus on this kind of connection. Okay, trading connections, or trading relationships, or you can say trading relationships. Okay, we're just going to focus. We can have a lot of kinds of different connections with the world, but we are going to focus on trading, because trading is the one that brings us from country to country, from other countries to Singapore, from Singapore to other countries. Trading plays a very 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 big role. Do you know what's the meaning of trading? Okay, basically trade, right, means that people exchange items. Okay, it can be in terms of money or whatever, but in the past, we don't trade using money. Okay, the main form of trade is barter trade. Okay, so if you go to your textbook on page 44, you will see the meaning of barter trade. Means you trade in terms of goods and services. Okay, which not the same as as how we trade in the current times. I pay you money, you give me rice. Okay, in the past, right, let's say I give you a bag of salt. Okay, so maybe salt from some famous country lah. Okay, some XXX country, and then we bring to Singapore. Okay, maybe in Singapore we give, what do you think Singapore is famous for? Okay, let's say for example we give flour. Okay, I don't think Singapore we are famous for flour, but we could give flour. Okay, but barter trade basically means that I give you salt, you give me flour. Okay, it's not in terms of money, but in terms of goods and services. Okay, so in the past, right, okay, so if you refer to your textbook on page 45, you can see what the people used to trade. It could be things like pottery plates. Like, okay, from this is like a place called Mesopotamia, or sometimes they could trade things like necklaces. So they trade precious items like stones, pottery, porcelain, jade, things that are precious. So I give you a plate, you give me a necklace, for example. Okay, so that was how they used to trade. But then you ask me, but what if Misa, I give you, if the person gives something useless in exchange for, let's say, a very precious piece of jewelry, then isn't it not very worth it? Okay, of course, in the past, like, they will judge how much the piece of item costs. Okay, obviously they wouldn't give you a bag of salt for like a gold bangle, right? So usually when they exchange things, they are of somewhat equal value. Okay, so if you go to page 47, right, what you see is this picture that I see. Okay, which is a picture of Long Ya Men, or Dragon's Tooth Gate. Okay, basically this is like based on a drawing based on a description by Wang Dayuan. People, who is Wang Dayuan, right? Wang Dayuan, no? Wang Dayuan is actually a very famous Chinese traveler. Okay, he came from China, so he actually traveled to many places, and Singapore was one of the places. And then so he described how Singapore was, and he described this place known as Long Ya Men. Okay, so this was the place that where all the travelers entered Singapore's territory. Okay, so this was probably the entry to a port where all the travelers from other countries, from China, India, bring all their precious jewelries, they come to Singapore to trade. Okay, so of course before we analyze or we look at Singapore as a trading port, we must think about how did they become a trading port trading port over the years? You know, Singapore isn't it a fishing village? Like remember we talked about Orang Laut and how they should be fishing as a way of living. How did a fishing village turn into a busy trading port? Okay, now of course I'm not going to answer the question for you. So what I need you to do is to complete a worksheet that I've prepared for you. Okay, so for this worksheet, right, you're going to study the reasons why Singapore became a very busy trading port. Okay, you're going to study. You're also going to study what kind of traders came to Singapore. Do you think traders from USA brought important things to Singapore? You think people from USA will come? The traders from Africa, traders from North Pole, South Pole, blah 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 blah. Okay, so you are going to find out for me who are these famous traders who came to Singapore. And number 2, you're also going to find out why did they come to Singapore. I mean, Singapore is just like a small dot, some random map that nobody ever takes notice of. Why did they choose to come to Singapore? Were there special feng shui or special reasons why Singapore became a trading port? Okay, so you're going to find out how Singapore became a trading port and what kind of travelers it will eventually attract. Okay, so you're actually going to look at page 50 to 53, 55, and after that you will look at page 58 to page 63 to find out more. Okay, so at this time, our dear relief teacher will give out the worksheets to you. All the instructions are on the worksheets. All I need you to do is to refer to the textbook and fill in the blanks. Okay, so while I'm gone, can you please be nice to the relief teacher and complete your work on time and submit. Don't you dare copy from one another. Okay, just discuss. Okay? I'll be staring at you like this or like this. Okay, just kidding. Just complete your work, fill in the blanks, submit the paper at the end of the lesson. And of course, when I come back, what is the best way to check whether you have actually done your work? Yeah? Who? Ismail? Ismail, you want to tell me what's the best way to test you? Yes, of course, I will give you a quiz when I return. Okay, so Ismail, can you return to your seat and stop talking now? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to give you a quiz when I return, and I want to make sure that you pass the quiz. Otherwise, you have to redo the whole worksheet. Okay, ta-ta. See you when I'm back.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.